Well, hey everybody, it's the 8th day of May 2025. It's a Thursday, Jupiter's Day. I'm Jan Erickson, and this is As Above, So Below. Well, let's see. Let's go ahead and get started here. Well, if I can get my hand into the rune bag. We'll draw a rune from the Elder Futhark bag for the above side of things, or the higher self side of things. We have Isa. Isa is one of the Norn runes. There's 3 Norn runes. You've got Hagalaz, Nathis, and Isa. Isa is the 11th rune, so we're talking a Master 11 energy, if you will, or numerology. I just view it all as energy, so... But this is alignment in spirit. It's freezing unwanted behavior. It's an expression of will. It's becoming. It's aligning in higher purpose. It can represent meditation where you do that alignment in higher consciousness. But it can also have to do with contraction and focus as well. It's like achieving your still point, really. So you may have occasion to do that here today or over the next few days where you need to get quiet and really go within and figure out what's going on. If something seems a little off, maybe. Let's see, is this fire? It is. Okay. The Geomancy rune is going to be Caput Draconis. The Draconi, Kata and Caput. Caput is the head of the dragon, Kata is the tail of the dragon, so Caput would be having to do with on the threshold of new beginnings, whereas Kata, its complement would be, and this is also represents the north node of the moon. Kata would represent the south node of the moon, or the tail of the dragon, and you're looking there at past life experience or maybe karma. So one would be endings and one would be beginnings, so Caput would be beginnings. So there could be something happen today that's new, where you need to access your still point within. You need to go within and try to understand it from a higher perspective. So there could be some future opportunity that's knocking on your door, and you need a little more higher wisdom when looking at it than simply responding with the ego and thinking, oh, well, this is great, isn't this wonderful, let's go do it. Well, maybe you need to take a little more measured approach where you think about it a little bit more and just see whether or not it's truly going to serve your overall purpose. So let's start there and see where we go. When I draw 3 cards, I'll just shuffle a little bit more here. And then I will cut the deck, take the lower half, and then draw 3 cards. If we need more, we'll take them. But generally, usually if I take, it's usually just 1 more card. Once in a blue moon, I'll do two more cards, so I'll have 5 that I'm looking at. But usually it's to either fill a space where I feel like there's something else that happens before you get to another card. It might be that, or just to give a little more information about what a particular card's really trying to say. So we'll cut the deck, take the lower half. Well, excuse me, we have the Emperor, the Knight of Swords, and the 8 of cups here. So I'm going to think about how I want to arrange these. While I'm doing that, let's go ahead and do the numerology. So we said, I'm going to do this 2 different ways. I don't like to take a master number and include it in an overall numerology of something. I like to leave it on its own, but I'll do it both ways. So let's do it without the 11. First, because Isa is the 11th rune, so we'll keep that as the Master 11 numerology. I just like those to stand on their own. We have 4 for the Emperor, nothing on any of the court cards, so nothing for the Knight of Swords, and then 8. So that's 12, reduces to 3. So we're looking at interaction, communication, optimism, imagination, integration. So we can look at 3. And then we're going to go /11. Or we can go 14, and 1 and 4 is so, because 3 and 11 is 14, and then 1 and 4 is 5. So 5 is going to be about change. It's going to be about innovation and variety, protection. Think the pentagram for protection. So, but let's just see about the integrative part of this. Maybe whatever you're having to think about that's coming requires some communication that needs to be probably on a higher level with the 11 here. It may need to, because that's awakening, illumination, and enlightenment is the 11. And so you're awakening to that whole idea that there needs to be some kind of higher communication here. So that reinforces the idea of the 3 would reinforce the idea of the 11 with Isa, where the communication is with spirit, and then manifesting that in your physical reality with other people, but being able to see things definitely in an integrated fashion, with your imagination, with optimism, all of that, from a higher perspective. You're not deriving it from ego, in other words. I'm going to start just reading them as I drew them, and then we'll see really what order they need to be in. Maybe they'll stay the same. The Emperor comes after the Empress gives birth to creation, and it establishes the father principle. It establishes responsibility, manifesting its will, if you will. You see the 4 ram's heads. It's a it's an Aries card, basically. You see strength behind him, both light and dark, on the mountains behind. They look like mountains to me. This looks like, honestly, this looks more like wood in the background here, doesn't it? But he's in his battle attire, the king is, or the emperor is, but he's covered by a red cloak. And so again, very fire element oriented, very active principle, expressions of will, taking charge, being the authority. And again, it just depends on how is disciplined, is masculine energy and stability, order. And so generally speaking, it's a positive card. I think that it either can represent you in the same way a court card, the king, for example, would be representing you, the querent of the reading. Then that just means the person who's asking for the reading. That's just a fancy name for it. But it could mean that whatever you're embarking upon is going to take some discipline and some inner strength, and being able to be the leader of something versus maybe being more collaborative. Maybe you're going to be the one you're going to be the one in charge. In other words, you're going to take command of the situation of whatever this new path that's opening or this new opportunity is opening. And again, using the higher self, is basically divine wisdom. They talk about the divine right of kings, the divine right of they didn't really mention queens, but maybe they do. I don't know. I've never see it though. It's always the divine right of kings, to rule over the land. It's like, well, no. but the idea that drawing down higher wisdom is something that somebody who really thinks about things, who is commanding a lot of stuff that's going on, the decisions that are being made, and doing it with due diligence and higher purpose. So taking it from that level, we'll see that. And 4, being the 4th card of the major arcana, you're looking at a different type of structure, a different type of foundation than maybe you have originally been using. So again, maybe it's just as simple as drawing in higher awareness to make the decisions you need to make, versus allowing the ego, the lower ego, that lower vibratory energy to pull you into something that really is more impulsive based, instead of really looking at it critically and understanding the entire picture, so that you can make the best decision possible with respect to whatever Caput Draconis is referring to here. We'll just call it a new opportunity or a new path or a new direction in your life. With the Knight of Swords, here you see a very swift action going, and he's going against the wind. You can see the trees blowing this way while he's going this way. And it's almost like, and I've said this before, that his sword, raising his sword, is cutting through the clouds and making them dissipate. And what you can think of in terms of clouds are deception, whether it's deception on the part of somebody else who could be trying to draw you into something that you really shouldn't be doing. Again, needing that discipline from the emperor to really look in a more analytical way, from a position of strength, essentially, that higher wisdom versus the reactive and impulsive ego. The knight is really somebody who's he's a soldier. He's ready for battle, even though his visor is up and he's not in battle. But it's almost like he's going back to right or wrong. And so with the clouds, though, you can think of it in terms of deception. He's cutting through whatever deception somebody might want to offer, and manipulate with, and trying to see the real truth about something. So when you're doing your due diligence, you may have to do some of that when you're trying to assess this new opportunity that's coming or new direction that's coming your way. Is it really going to be worthwhile to engage in? Do I really understand the facts, or do I need to, and I don't have a lot of time. This is the other thing, the swift action of swords here. They don't have a lot of time. You see a sense of urgency with the Knight of Swords to make sure, because maybe the opportunity is going to slip away if you don't, and it could be something good, but you have to know that, and so you have to do your due diligence quickly. You have to stay focused. That's another thing of Isa, where you're staying in alignment. You're keeping a strong focus in order to develop the will, in other words, in a way that is more measured and more aware than say the ego would want it to be. Then we come to something else. And in a sense, it does align with a new opportunity, because you're seeing this man walking away, walking uphill. There's some rocks in the way, so there could be some challenges. But he's taken stock of his emotional reserves, that reservoir of emotions that allow him to move forward, without fear, essentially. This is the Eight of Cups. Sometimes I think this space here indicates whatever cup he's taking with him that you don't see, to make it in other words, he would be the ninth cup, if you will. But basically here, he's putting everything in order. He's seeing what he's got, and then he's moving on in a way that he knows he has that emotional support behind him. He's ready to go. He's emotionally able to make the decisions that he needs to make, and he's ready to move on. And so that's why I think that it really does takes that inner strength with the eight, the leadership qualities. Again, leadership qualities aligning very well with the Emperor, as well as the Knight of Swords, to then move forward in a way that you've done your due diligence, you've gotten the facts that you need to get with the Knight of Swords, you've aligned yourself in spirit with Isa, and drawn down that higher wisdom so that you're not making a decision impulsively about this new path Caput Draconis talks about. And then again, as you're moving forward emotionally, you're not letting fear guide your hand here. You're not letting fear say, oh, I don't want to do this because, that's something new. And oh my goodness, we don't like anything new, do we? And uncertain, because there's only so much you're going to know about that opportunity. You find out everything you can. And if you feel like it has a good foundation, like with the fourth card of the major arcana, the Emperor, that there's a strong foundation there, then it might be a risk you do want to take. The Knight of Swords is also about risk, but it's doing it in a way that has the facts, as many facts as you can gather to make the decision you need to make. And then when you do, you're emotionally ready to do that, irrespective of the challenges ahead. You see the rocks that are kind of in the way, but he's got his little staff there, his little stick, walking stick, and it's going to help him move forward. And you see the same red type of cloak on that the Emperor has. And you also see it here in the Knight of Swords. You see everybody's wearing the red cloak. So that's red, that's fire, that's action, that's movement, that's moving in a new direction, that's creativity. It's the spark of new ideas or new beginnings or new opportunities. So you see a lot of reinforcement here with the cards and Caput Draconis, where a new opportunity is there. But again, you need to do your due diligence. You need to align in spirit and draw down higher wisdom, apply it to the due diligence you do with the Emperor, find out the facts and get rid of all the deception and all the nonsense so you really truly understand what this is about. And then feeling comfortable about it, emotionally having some emotional strength there, you're ready to move on, irrespective of the challenges ahead. Make sense? So, interesting reading. I love it when they all dovetail together. And it really begins with the awakening and illumination and enlightenment that Isa provides by aligning in spirit and understanding what higher self is saying. And you know, if you're feeling like, ooh, I don't know about this, after doing that, then maybe you need to pay attention and you need to really emphasize the cutting through the deception and finding out what the real truth of the situation is. Maybe spend a little more time here. You know, if after meditating and drawing down higher wisdom, you're just like, well, I don't know. If you still feel that way, then it could be higher self is saying, maybe you want to let this one go by and let another one come. But do your due diligence with the Emperor and with the Knight of Swords. And again, you may want to spend more time making absolutely sure of what the facts are. You might want to do that if that's how you feel. If you don't feel that way, then you know, certainly do this. But it may be that you're going to find out good things. And so, but again, if you don't go through that process, you're not going to know, and you're not going to be able to have the resources there and the awareness there and the facts there to make the decision you need to make. Okay? Okay. That's it. I don't think we need another card. I don't think I doubt it would try to define what the new opportunity is anyway. And it could be a whole variety of different things that could be possible coming up here. So in any event, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you haven't yet, click subscribe. I'd love you to do that. And check out the blog over at Stepping Aside. The web address there is imsteppingaside.com. The forecast for the week comes out Sunday morning in the midnight hour. So does the correspondences for work and magic, if you're into that. Just the daily stuff, where the planets are and, you know, what's favorable and what isn't, and where the moon mansions are, all of that. That's contained within all that. Plus other types of correspondences are there. But check that out. I do very short write-ups about these videos as well, that are posted both there at Stepping Aside and also over at Substack. My Substack's called Witch Notes. It's also searchable under Jan Erickson. And I just cross-publish over there for this stuff. And I guess that's it. Come back on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.